Investors believed the internet would transform everything until $5 trillion vanished in a single crash. Today, that same wild optimism fuels artificial intelligence, often called AI, as Microsoft and Google bet billions and valuations soar to dizzying heights. But if history is repeating, what critical warning signs are we ignoring, and who survives when illusion collides with reality? Microsoft's partnership with OpenAI, worth $10 billion, sent an unmistakable signal across the tech world. When a company of that size pours billions into a single bet, the message is clear. This is not just another trend, it's the future. Microsoft's commitment goes beyond cash. It supplies OpenAI with vast amounts of cloud computing power, locking in years of collaboration and making Azure the backbone of the world's most famous artificial intelligence models. Beyond cash. The numbers are staggering, but the psychology is even more powerful. For startups and investors, a blue-chip endorsement becomes proof of inevitability. If Microsoft is all in, who dares to sit on the sidelines? Blue chip. Google, facing the risk of being left behind, reorganized its entire artificial intelligence division to launch Gemini. Billions were redirected, teams merged almost overnight, and the company's public identity was reshaped around a single goal: win the artificial intelligence race. Gemini. In boardrooms and on trading floors, these moves are read as signals of destiny. Each press release, each strategic alliance, fans the belief that artificial intelligence is not just a technology, but a tidal wave, one that no competitor can afford to miss. Logos and partnerships multiply. Every sector, from banking to biotech, rushes to announce its own artificial intelligence initiative. The cycle feeds on itself. The more giants endorse, the more inevitable the revolution appears. More inevitable. But beneath the surface, the question lingers. Does endorsement guarantee endurance, or does it just amplify the illusion? For now, optimism reigns, and the world watches as the stakes climb ever higher. Question. The dot-com collapse arrived like a thunderclap. In just a matter of months, nearly $5 trillion in market value vanished from the Nasdaq. Companies that had once filled Super Bowl commercials and Wall Street dreams, names like Pets.com and Webvan, disappeared, leaving behind empty offices and unpaid bills. More than half of all internet startups were wiped out. The scale of the loss was staggering, reshaping entire industries and erasing fortunes almost overnight. Yet, in the ashes, a handful of survivors quietly rewrote the future. Google, still a scrappy search engine in 2001, focused on solving real problems and building a business that could last. Amazon weathered the storm by doubling down on logistics and customer service, turning near bankruptcy into a blueprint for modern e-commerce. eBay, with its focus on community and trust, endured while competitors folded. PayPal, born out of the chaos, became the backbone of online payments. These companies did not just survive, they became the pillars of the digital economy. Their stories are a reminder that bubbles do not erase the underlying value of technology. They clear the field for those who can deliver on their promises. Today, AI giants walk a path first paved by these survivors. The path is defined not by hype, but by the ability to outlast the storm. AI valuations have entered a territory that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. Private startups are now fetching prices at 20 times, 50 times, even 100 times their annual revenue. OpenAI, with an estimated valuation of $300 billion, brings in only a fraction of that in real sales. Anthropic, Cohere, and others chase similar multiples, fueled by a belief that growth is all that matters. Venture capital term sheets reflect this optimism, with investors competing to get into deals at any price, convinced that missing out is riskier than overpaying. But behind the headlines, a different kind of power is at play. In the gold rush of AI, the ones selling the pickaxes often make the most money. NVIDIA, once a niche supplier for gamers and researchers, now controls more than 80% of the global market for AI training chips. Its GPUs are the essential tools for building large language models, and every major AI company is a customer. According to TrendForce and Omdia, NVIDIA's share of the market for AI accelerators sits between 80 and 90% by both units, shipped and revenue. No competitor comes close. This concentration means that even as valuations soar, the industry's foundation rests on a single supplier. The numbers look impressive on paper, but when so much value depends on access to one company's hardware, the durability of these headline figures comes into question. Investors may be betting on infinite growth, but the limits of supply are already shaping the reality beneath the hype. Training the world's largest AI models is no longer just a technical challenge. It's a financial and physical one. The bill for a single state-of-the-art language model can reach hundreds of millions of dollars. OpenAI's GPT-4, for example, reportedly cost over $100 million to train, not counting the ongoing expense of running it every day. These numbers are driven by the sheer volume of computation required. Millions of hours on specialized GPUs, each drawing hundreds of watts, stacked floor to ceiling in data centers across the globe. But the cost doesn't end with hardware. Power is the issue. Powering these clusters demands as much electricity as an entire country. A single hyperscale AI data center can consume over a gigawatt, enough to match the annual energy use of nations like Senegal or Lithuania. According to the International Energy Agency, one major site can draw more power than a city of 1 million people, running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Utility analysts now treat these AI clusters as the largest new industrial loads on the grid. In Virginia, Texas, and Ireland, grid operators scramble to keep up, sometimes delaying new connections or raising rates for everyone else. Engineers. Inside these facilities face a different reality. Every training run is a negotiation between ambition and budget, with power bills and hardware depreciation eating into the margins that investors once took for granted. As the hype around AI valuations grows louder, the economics of compute and energy are quietly setting hard limits. The race to build ever larger models is colliding with the reality of finite resources, and the cost of crossing that line is starting to show. Courtrooms are now testing the limits of AI's promise. In 2023, a New York law firm submitted legal briefs generated by ChatGPT. The model invented entire cases out of thin air. When the truth surfaced, the judge imposed sanctions and fines, and the firm's reputation took a hit that no amount of technology could repair. These so-called hallucinations aren't rare. In healthcare, AI systems have misdiagnosed patients, leading to lawsuits and costly settlements. For businesses, a single error can spiral into millions in damages and lost trust. The legal risks are only growing. Class actions over data privacy and copyright infringement now target the biggest names in AI, from OpenAI to Meta. In Brussels, the EU AI Act has become law. By December 2024, certain AI practices will be outright banned across Europe. By June 2025, providers of foundation models must comply with strict transparency and safety rules. The real reckoning comes in June 2026, when high-risk AI systems face full enforcement and penalties that can reach 35 million euros or 7% of global turnover. For lawyers and regulators, the era of unchecked experimentation is ending. For the industry, every new lawsuit and compliance deadline brings fresh doubt about what's truly sustainable. Inside the world's top AI startups, the numbers on glossy pitch decks don't always match the money in the bank. A closer look reveals a web of circular financing. Giant tech firms invest billions, but much of it returns as cloud credits, hardware purchases, or vendor swaps. Revenue statements swell with non-cash deals. OpenAI booking. Microsoft's cloud credits as income, NVIDIA's chip investments tied to guaranteed hardware orders, and Amazon and Google structuring funding for Anthropic in exchange for exclusive compute commitments. Analysts estimate that for some of the biggest private labs, as much as 60% of reported revenue comes from these partner arrangements, not from end customers. The illusion holds only as long as new capital keeps flowing. When investors hesitate, the entire model turns fragile. Chief financial officers warn that a pullback can trigger a cascade. Headline revenue drops, growth multiples contract, and valuations can fall by half or more in a matter of weeks. Internal sensitivity models show how a $15 billion company built on circular deals and a 30 times revenue multiple could see its value plunge to $4 or $5 billion if organic demand lags and deal terms tighten. The dominoes are lined up. One tremor in credit or sentiment, and the system built on hope and recycled capital begins to unwind. For many, the difference between survival and collapse isn't innovation, but the ability to keep the financial machinery spinning just a little longer. Today, AI data centers draw as much power as entire countries, and tech giants wager trillions on code. As hype meets hard limits, the lesson remains. Progress is real, but illusions are expensive. The next era won't be built on belief alone. It will be built on proof.